Have you ever wanted the tech, the practicality, the comfort of an off-road SUV but without the price tag? Well, this might be the answer. Welcome to EV.com. Today, BYD is a company that does a little bit of everything. They started out making, let's be honest, some quite forgettable gasoline cars. Fast forward to now, and their portfolio stretches from the tiny BYD Seagull, also known as the Dolphin Surf or Atto 1, depending on where you are, all the way to the apocalypse-ready Yangwang U8. And even within those categories, we have some real depth. We previously drove the Fangchengbao Tai, which is one of the more hardcore off-roaders. You can click the link above if you want to see that. But today, this is something a little different. This one right here is the Fangchengbao Tai 7. Same brand, much different mindset. But here's the big question. A lot of people buy these hardcore off-roaders like a Fangchengbao Tai or a Land Rover Defender even, but how many of them actually need that level of capability? Most people like the idea of an off-roader, the things an off-roader can bring, like comfort, like practicality, like the sense of superiority when you're sitting high up in your SUV. And that's exactly where the Fangchengbao Tai 7 comes in. It takes the tough SUV appeal, dials back the extreme off-road hardware, and trades it in for something far more family-friendly and practical. Oh, and it starts from around $25,000. So you can definitely see the family resemblance to something like a Fangchengbao Tai. But here things are softer, less aggression, more square upright lines, a cleaner, perhaps more neutral look. From the side, it definitely gives off a bit of Land Rover Defender energy. But overall, it's fairly inoffensive, maybe a little bit generic, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. This feels like a design that won't scare buyers away. So how toned down is the Tai 7? So let's talk quickly about its off-roading capabilities. So the Tai 7 gets a 24-degree approach and 25-degree departure angle with a 600mm, that's 60 centimeters in real language, wading depth. If we compare that to the Bao 8, has a 30-degree approach, a 29-degree departure angle, and 900mm of wading depth. So yes, it's clearly been watered down, but for muddy tracks, some snow, some light trails, the odd camping trip, a little bit of bad weather, this is probably all you're gonna need. And if it doesn't see hardcore off-road action, it's probably not the biggest tragedy in the world. It's always a crime to see a Defender or even a Fangchengbao Tai completely spotless, completely free of scratches. Those people should be trading them in and getting one of these instead. So at the back end we have a side opening trunk door, which is nice. This door can be opened to whatever angle you choose. This is something which is obviously very off-roady. And we have a massive trunk inside here. 970 liters, expandable to 1,880 liters when the second row seats are down. So this is space for your camping stuff. This is massive. We do have the roof rack as well. We have our 2.2 kilowatt power outlet here. So we do have the makings of something that could be used for adventures, that could be used for some camping. And then at the back, on the Bao 8, we actually had a spare tire. So that's kind of separates the Bao 8 as a proper hardcore vehicle. You know, it has a spare tire in case when it's off-roading, it needs to change. This one doesn't have a square wheel inside. This is just, if I can open it, an extra storage unit. So this is kind of like this looking like an off-roader but not really being very off-roady. So this is a little over 36 liters in here. So I don't know what you'd put in here, something which you don't want to stinking up the inside of your car. This doesn't have a frunk, so this could be useful. Some stinky shoes, some kind of wet clothes, put them in there and forget about it until you get home. So when you squint, it might look hardcore, but when you get close, you realize it's just something which is practical and useful for your everyday living. So step inside the Tai 7 and you instantly remember that it's a BYD. But to be honest, that's not really an insult anymore. The interiors are getting much better, and the interior in here is very tasteful. It's essentially just a kind of generic SUV interior with a couple of nods to its off-road origins. So we have these heavy-duty door handles here. We actually have some grab handles in the back there, although I'm not really sure how useful these ones are going to be. The massive tactile buttons from the Fangchengbao 8 have been removed and replaced with kind of like your standard kind of SUV center unit here. We have our buttons at the top here. This seems to be the amount which BYD is happy with, and perhaps most consumers are happy with as well. We've got some nice manually adjustable air vents here, kind of grab handle shelf here we can use to throw a few things in. Wireless charging pads, cup holders. Oh, and of course we have to have a fridge. So this one here can go from -6 all the way to 50 degrees. Wouldn't be a BYD without having a fridge in it, would it now? And then we have a few screens. So we have a 15.6-inch central display, a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster. We've seen this on many of their vehicles before, and a 27-inch heads-up display. We also have two more climate control screens in the back. We saw this before on the Bao 8 as well. And we also have a couple of fixtures on the back of these chairs for even more screens if you want them. The boxy shape really pays off when you're inside the vehicle. We have massive amounts of headroom in the front and in the back. Back also has great legroom as well as electronically adjustable recline. These front two have heating, ventilation and massage. The back two just have heating and ventilation, but certainly lots of comforts and lots of tech. To be honest, I'm running out of things to complain about in BYD's interiors. We have a nice long sunroof which can actually be opened halfway, which is something you don't see very often on vehicles. Again, another nod to its kind of like off-roading perhaps DNA. Materials wise, it feels okay, a mixture of some soft and some hard. You know, we've got some hard materials down here on the door around the air vents, but most of the touch points are soft touch. And actually, I think they've done a really good job of the interior of the Tai 7, and it's clear to see this is a family SUV made for comfort, made for driving for the most part on the road, and that's probably what most people really want. On the move, the Tai 7 is certainly quick enough. The two higher trims get dual motor all-wheel drive, doing 0 to 100 in just 4.5 seconds. All models come with a 1.5 litre turbo engine. Entry levels are single electric motor, and top Max and Ultra trims have dual electric motors as well as more off-road driving modes. And a choice of two batteries depending on the level of trim. So entry level models get a 26.6 kilowatt hour battery for 135 kilometers of CLTC range. Higher trims get a 35.6 kilowatt hour pack, pushing that to 170 to 200 kilometers of CLCT range. The battery in the Tai 7 will charge from 30 to 80% in 17.5 minutes. I was a little confused as to why it's the same for both battery sizes. This is because the batteries have different max charging speeds of 54 kilowatts and 72 kilowatts for the bigger battery. This is an HEV, so the gasoline engine inside can be used to power the wheels. And if we have a full gas tank, there's one in here is 60 liters, we can get a combined range of around 1,300 kilometers on the CLTC cycle. So certainly enough if you're going out on the road for an adventure. But when we look a bit more closely, we start to see the cracks appearing where this isn't really a proper off-roader. For example, the suspension, double wishbone up front and multi-link at the rear. Not really made for off-roading. As for the driving experience, I will probably reserve judgment for the time being. BYD only gave me this car for the day. It feels like more towards something like a Tung L EV than something like a Bao 8. It's kind of like a very comfortable enough driving experience. The suspension is very soft, there's a lot of roll. To be honest, when you have something, it could be a car that tries to be two things at once. What happens is it doesn't really do either thing very well. This, however, I don't really think is in the middle of a hardcore SUV and a family-friendly car. I would definitely say this is kind of 70-80% family car and maybe a little tiny watered down bit of an off-road SUV. I can't in clear conscience say to you, you should take this car off-road. We do have some driving modes like mud and snow and desert. I think this car is much more comfortable pottering around, doing the school runs, dropping the kids off, whatever. Occasional light off-roading I think would be fine, but if you want an SUV that can actually go off-road, you're better off going with something like a BAO 8. That one ticks all the boxes and is very capable up a mountain. The Tai 7 comes with BYD's D-SUS-C intelligent body control system and a tire stability control that allows the vehicle to keep driving for up to 30 kilometers at 80 kilometers an hour after a blowout. Entry levels of the Tai 7 get God's Eye C, which is highway NOA and potentially urban NOA in the future. But the top trim, this one here, has a LiDAR unit. It has God's Eye B, which is D-Pilot 300, which we reviewed previously on a C-Line 7. Click the link above if you want to see more on that. And please make sure to give us a like and a subscribe if you are enjoying the content. So does the BYD Fangchengbao Tai 7, that's quite a mouthful, well, does it hit the sweet spot? It gives you the look and presence of a tough SUV, enough off-road ability for real life, far better everyday comfort and practicality, and a much lower starting price. This one here starts at around 180,000 yuan in the China market, which is around $25,000. That's less than half the price of a Fangchengbao BAO 8 for something a little more watered down. For many buyers, this one here might actually make more sense, but what do you think? Would you go for the hardcore Fangchengbao BAO 8 or the slightly light vanilla version, which is the Tai 7, and save a little bit of money? Make sure you let us know in the comments below. Be sure to give us a like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.